here, the S55 engine. It's in today for a Insane Crankhub to be fitted. This is one where you have to drill the crank with a special guide. It's quite a massive in-depth job. The reasons for this is the crank hubs themselves, which are very common on these, to slip and you cause major internal engine damage. So yeah, it's quite an in-depth job. So this is a very key, vital part of a car which needs to be replaced on these. So yeah, hopefully it shouldn't ever have an issue again. This needs to be replaced sheer on the main factor that these spin and just cause major engine damage, and we have seen them on standard cars as well, which have caused major engine damage as well. So yeah, this one has 2 pins in the end of it, which then locate into the crank once I've drilled it. So this whole unit will not turn. We also do the Musselman crank hubs as well. It's slightly different. The timing chain gear itself does remove, but it is pinned again inside. Again, it's another great piece. Just customer supplied this one himself. The bolt itself, actually, the issue with the bolt itself comes loose under harsh down change or harsh acceleration, and yeah, so this one, it will never move. So far, we have had the wheels off, we've drained the oil, the rocker cover's been removed, ready to put our timing tool on. About to go on the side of it now and start taking the sump off. So yeah, it's quite an in-depth job. So far now, I've got the subframe down, the engine supported at the top, timing chain itself is all out, the actual crank hub is off. I'm ready now to take the sump off. We're taking the oil pump out of the way, ready to drill, just so I can make sure there's no swarf in anything, and then we'll go to build back up. These are the 2 crank hubs. I've now got both of them in my hands. This one is again a solid complete piece. There's nothing which comes off this. But as you can see, this one is the one I took out of the vehicle. Both of these gears spin independently when they're not under clamping force with a bolt. So yeah, this is just eliminating all of this issue with the new one. This is day 2 on this crank hub build. I've now finished yesterday, I finished drilling the crank. Now I need to test fit the actual hub to make sure it fits perfectly. Higher mileage ones, we do change the timing chain on. Again, with there, I've taken it out. There's no need not to change it. But yeah, this one's only done 17,000 miles, so there's no real need to change this one.
Is there any other things that you would do if you just because you're already there and stripped?
We're already here. Basically, the whole engine's near enough stripped, so there's anything we can do to it at the same time. While we're doing this, we do recommend the capture plate on the crank hub at the same time. With there, we're undoing the same bolts. There's no need not to put a capture plate on there.
What is a capture plate?
A capture plate is this item here. This item goes over the top of the crank hub. Once the crank hub bolt goes in to the crank, this locates onto the bolt and again aids against this not spinning again. Oh. So yeah, capture plate again, great useful piece to put on here. While we're there, we do recommend a set of spark plugs, just because we've had the whole top of the engine off, they're easy to access. These do go through spark plugs quite quickly. It's just another thing. Again, we check auxiliary belts when we're there, just to make sure that they're okay. If they do need replacing, we replace them. Again, we've got suspension arms hanging out, we can always change those. We do change the oil and filter regardless. It's just a good piece of practice. Engine mounts we check. Obviously these ones are not too bad anymore. They do last a lot longer. Like E90s, when we do rod bearings, we do change the engine mounts on those because they do tend to snap. But yeah, no, it's pretty normal work. Crank hub's in place, it's all bolted up. Now I've got to lower the timing chain into place with the guide, insert all of the guide bolts and fixings, then I can put the crank hub gears on, and then we should be all good to go to rebuild the rest of it. Just putting the sump back in now. It's still loose, but just wanted to mention that we're replacing all the sump bolts. The sump bolts are actually made out of titanium, so they're one use only, they're stretch bolts, so you have to replace them after use. So guys, I'm now putting the crank bolt in. I'm Loctiting it, I'll pop it in, we'll go up to 100 Newton meters, and it's 270 degrees after. Right then, timing chain's all in, everything's all tightened up now. I'm going to release all the timing pegs, turn the engine over 4 times to make sure it's okay, and then I'll put all the timing tools back in to make sure the timing's correct. The engine all built up. I just need to put a few covers back on, strut brace and coolant and oil in it, and then fire her up. So with both coolant systems, I use this vacuum gauge, which vacuums all the air out of the system, so that when I input water in, there's no air locks, so it's just a quicker system, quicker way of doing it, and that's as simple as that is. It is a modification, but it is an upgraded part, and unfortunately you won't feel any difference in the drivability or the capability of the car, but it'd be peace of mind knowing that it's the issue of the major engine damage isn't going to happen, which is quite good. So yeah, this is a key thing to be fitted to a vehicle with this S55 or N55. I personally haven't heard of any N55s with this issue, but the crank hub is the same on an N55. The vehicle's now up to full temp, so if I was on a track, I'd be happy to drive it pretty hard. Yeah, this vehicle is now ready to have more mods done to it, and also this one was fitted with a capture plate as well from VTT, which was already fitted to the vehicle previously. But we've now replaced that and put it back on. It's just another precautionary measure. It's always good to add to it. Yeah, this is now ready for big power. Like, you could easily put hybrid turbos on them. Hybrid turbos, larger front main, larger charge cooler. Right then, we've just been out on road test. Everything in the vehicle now is all okay. It's ready for more power. I believe the customer is going to go for more power. So yeah, the car is now fully capable of any power it's been given on the crank hub wise. So yeah, all good to go back to the customer.